What's going on, YouTube? Marcus Crockett back with another video. So this is how this homeless guy made sense of some of the things that I was already kind of thinking about, and how it pretty much let me know, like, we all go through the same things, but how we deal with them, or how we deal with the things that we're going through, really makes a difference. So rewind like 3.5, maybe 4 years ago. I'm letting one of my employees, actually, she really wasn't even like a full employee yet. She was in training, right? Well, she was an employee, but she was in training, so she wasn't able to be out on her own yet. So I'm doing like a training day for her. This might have been like the last training day or whatever. But we're doing this training day. I lock up the building, send her on her way. Now, as I'm putting like the vacuum cleaner and all of this stuff into the back of my truck, it's late at night. It's like 9-10 o'clock at night. But as I'm putting this stuff in the back of my truck, I'm hearing like the sound of like like slippers, slides, like sliding across the concrete. So it's like, so I'm like, it's getting louder and louder. So I know that somebody's coming closer to me. So when I look up, I see this guy. He's walking towards me. As he's coming towards me, I'm already like putting myself in the mind frame, like, yo, I know this dude is getting ready to come ask me something. He's getting ready to ask me for some money, or he wants something from me. As we start talking, like, the truth is, he really didn't want anybody except for just somebody to talk to. He didn't want nothing. So we're talking, and he's telling me his story, and I'm kind of looking at him. The way he's dressed in state issue clothes, so I know like he's just now getting out of jail. But as we're talking, he's telling me, his story and how he ended up where he is and some of the things that he's going through. And one of the things that really stood out to me was he kept using the word programming, right? He kept saying, most people will say the way I was raised, but he would say like the way I was programmed. And basically he came from an abusive past. Said his dad used to always talk down to him, yell at him, beat on him, just used to treat him bad, right? He said that it made him feel like he was the son that his dad just happened to get, and not really so much the son that his dad wanted to have. It was like one of those type of situations. So, he's just telling me his story. He's like, yeah, I always had these negative things put in my head, like I'm not worth nothing, I'm bad, I'm not good for nothing. And then after time, I'm programmed to think that. So I'm just like, man, I couldn't really relate to his situation exactly. But, I let him know, like, that's too bad, man. I'm sorry you had to go through that. And he's like, yeah, well, the thing about it is that was a bad situation that I went through. It messed me up for life, but that abuse was nothing compared to the abuse that I put myself through. This is what he's telling me. Saying the abuse that he went through as a kid during his programming is not even close to what he puts himself through as an adult. But anyways, we went our separate ways. But every now and then, like every month or 2 months after that, like I would see him. And every time I would see him, he would look like he's been on the street longer and longer and longer. Like he didn't catch a break. Like there was no job or no house he could sleep at. He didn't really catch a break. So he would look more homeless each time I saw him. Now, fast forward to yesterday. So yesterday, I'm showing one of my subcontractors this new building that we got, right? Walking them around. We exchange everything. They're going to do the account, so I give them the keys. After I'm done showing them around, they leave. And I'm kind of like, just looking over the account one final time. And as I'm getting closer to the exit door, I hear somebody outside, like, yelling at the top of their lungs. Like, they're not screaming, but it's an angry yell. So I open the door, and it's this guy outside, and he's arguing with himself. But he's arguing from his position, and then he's arguing back from someone else's position. So it took me a minute to realize that this guy that's out here arguing, yelling, is the same guy that I met a couple of years ago. Now I'm like, damn, you know, he's yelling, but he's saying certain things that catches my attention. So I was looking, but trying not to really make it look like I was looking and listening, right? And he's having this internal battle. He's saying, he's arguing his dad. He's saying things, he's yelling at himself the way that his dad would yell at him. And then he's responding back, saying, I guess, the things that he wished that he could have said or would have said. But it's this, so he'll, 1 second he's his dad, and then the next second he's himself. And it was crazy. But when one of the thing that really caught my attention yesterday was, he was, you know, his dad was saying, oh, you're nothing, you're not worth anything, right? And I'm trying to keep it clean. He was cussing, but he was saying a whole lot of stuff. And then the guy was like, yeah, I know I'm not shit. Well, there goes that. I was trying not to cuss, but there it is. So he said, yeah, I know I'm not shit, but my life is messed up and I didn't do anything with my life. Like he's reinforcing a lot of this, the negative beliefs that was programmed into him. So I wasn't gonna be like, hey man, it's okay. Like I just let him do his thing. Like he needed to get that out. So he's yelling, and I leave. But on my way home, and mind you, up until yesterday, I completely forgot about this guy. I forgot about him. And then, you know, when I'm driving home, I'm remembering the story he told me. I'm remembering what he looked like. I'm remembering all of this stuff. But the thing that I remember the most was him saying that, I remember him saying that the abuse he got as a kid is nothing compared to the abuse that he does to himself. Like that really, really stood out to me. And I'm like the type of person where I'll learn from other people's mistakes. I don't have to go through the bad times to learn from them, right? So I'm looking at it, I'm like, damn, well, you know what? Like that applies to a lot of people. So here's how that story applies. How many times have you heard someone tell you, or you heard someone else say that it's almost next to impossible to start a business and be successful at that business? Like I've heard people say that starting a business, well, most small businesses fail within the first 5 years. How are you going to get funding? Who's going to teach you how to do that? How are you going to do this? How are you going to do, just like, we hear all of these things. Now, the thing about those things that we're hearing is not necessarily so much that the people are saying these things. Because a lot of the times, like, you got to realize when people are telling you really what they can't do, what they're really saying is, if it were them, they don't think that they could do it, right? So the fact that you have the idea that you're going to go ahead and you're going to try it, it kind of, sometimes it makes people nervous. You going outside of what will be comfortable for them. So they don't really see any way that you could win, or I'm sorry, they don't see any way that they could win. So they say that you can't win, right? It's not uncommon. And that's not even the problem, because people are going to say what they're going to say. The problem would be is once you start believing those things. Like once you start believing that you can't win, that your business is not going to make it, that you don't have experience, so it's next to impossible for you to succeed. Who's going to want to hire you? Who's going to want to hire you or go with your company, grant your company the contract versus this one? Like once you start believing those things, then it's pretty much a wrap. Then you've already bought into the programming of someone else whose vision isn't aligned with yours. A perfect example, right? Years ago, I was living in Southern California, right? I'm from Washington. My family, we're from Southern Cali. So I'm living out there, and I'm going to the barbershop. Like, you know what I mean? I still was doing my barbershop thing. So I'm going to the barbershop. And everywhere, just like anywhere else, like they sell everything at the barbershop. They were selling shoes, DVDs, CD, like whatever you want, right? They were selling it. So I'm like, man, that'd be a nice little hustle. Like, I need to get those shoes because at the time I had a job. Now, the one thing about me, I've always had a job and I always had a hustle, always. So I'm looking at it like, you know what? I was working at this call center at the time. I said, I'm not gonna go and buy all of these shoes so I could be outstanding outside of barbershops like everybody else. I'm finna go to work, and on my lunch break, when these women looking to buy their kids shoes or do this, that, and the third, buy their dudes these shoes, they don't gotta go to the mall when they get off because I got them, right? So this is the way that I'm thinking. This is how I know that it's gonna work. There isn't a blueprint that I knew of at the time that showed me that buy the shoes, take them to work, sell them at work. There wasn't a blueprint. This is just what I'm thinking. I didn't share this with anybody just because, not that I was trying to be secretive, but just because there really wasn't nobody to talk to it about. Like I was convinced enough that it was gonna work. I just needed to find somewhere to get the shoes. So everybody that I asked, like, oh, where can I get the shoes? Where I can get this? One guy told me, he was like, man, you think I'm just finna just tell you where you could get the shoes? You gonna create competition for me? I tell you what, I'll tell you where to get the shoes, but you're gonna have to pay me $10,000. I'm like, $10,000? That's crazy. So that was a no. I wasn't gonna pay him no $10,000. So that was a no. So one of my boys, he was like, man, I know where they're getting the shoes. I just don't know the person they're getting them from. He's like, we got to go downtown. So we go to downtown LA to the garment district. And my boy was like, man, you know, all these stores, all these vendors, everybody selling stuff. He's like, man, I don't know. It's probably gonna be hard for you to find somebody who gonna sell you these shoes because you don't got no name out here. Don't nobody know you. Like, how you gonna do it? How you gonna make something happen? I said, I don't know, bro, but I know this much. We're not leaving until I find someone who's willing to sell me these shoes. We're not leaving. Okay. So the first person we go to tells me no. The next person we go to tells me no. I get like 5 or 6 more no's. Finally, I reach somebody and they're like, yeah, I'll do business with you. The number was right. I had the money. We made the deal. I went back to work just like I said I would. I sold all the shoes within 3 or 4 days. By that time, the people who bought the shoes, now they friends, their kids got friends, and now after the first week, I'm just getting rid of the shoes. Boom, 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 boom. So now like when I go back and I keep constantly getting these shoes, right? I go back to my guy, and mind you, right? This is important thing to know. From the time we got out of the car initially to go to find someone to give us the shoes, and by the time we paid the parking, by the time I got someone to give me the shoes, right? That span of time was only 45 minutes. So from getting out the car, hearing that long line of no's to finally get my yes took me 45 minutes. Whereas I was getting so much pushback from people telling me like, no, you're not gonna do it. No, I'm not gonna help you do it. No, it's not gonna be done. You know what I'm saying? Like, it only took me 45 minutes from parking the car to finding someone. That was the time frame. Now, as I'm selling all of these shoes, I'm coming back. First, it was like, the first 3 or 4 days. Then it was like the next 2 days to where I'm coming back and I'm getting a box of shoes every day and a half. Box of shoes. So now I started off with me carrying a box, to me carrying a box and my friend carrying a couple of bags, to me carrying a box and my friend wheeling out two boxes on the dolly. It's like we was doing it, right? And all of the people who told me no now get to see me every couple of days go sell more shoes than all of them, right? So the point is don't take your no for an answer. Don't let other people's programming, other people's messaging deter you away from what it is that you're trying to do. Because I just had enough. I don't know. Like I knew that it was gonna work. I had a strong feeling it was gonna work. It only made sense for it to work. I knew that I wasn't gonna leave until I found what I was looking for. I knew that much, and I knew once I got those shoes, like people were gonna buy them, and I wasn't gonna have to do a whole lot of work standing outside of barbershops to do it. So that taught me that. But the main point of the video is really it's a couple of things. One, don't let anybody else's programming shape the way that you think or shape what your goals should be, right? 2, if by any chance, you know what I mean, you are molded into somebody else's program, but you want to break out, you're not supposed to be caged up into this little box that you're in, whether it's working a job that you hate. I've been there. I've worked plenty of jobs that I hated. Every job I had, I hated. There was not one single job I hated where I was like, man, I really miss that job. I hated all of them. But the thing is, for me to go from being an employee to an entrepreneur, I had to start surrounding myself with like-minded people who are doing what I'm trying to do, right? So that's the other thing, right? So you have to create that incubator and get yourself around people who want to do what you want to do. But guys, like I say, man, I'm always dropping jewels. Just make sure you're in position to pick them up. You do that by liking, commenting, and subscribing. Once again, my name is Marcus Crockett. I will catch you in the next one. Peace.